Welcome to the 12th of our free online sewing class. If you are new to this tutorial, check my YouTube channel for day 1 to day 11. In today's class, we will learn how to sew a pencil skirt. This is a straight skirt. It is pencil and we are going to sew it with a stretchy material. This is one of the easiest sewing projects you can ever come across. Alright, this is the fabric we'll be using, and when you get your fabric, I'll be telling you things you need to consider when you have your fabric. The first thing is to look for the sevage edge. This sevage edge is we can call it the factory end or the edge. Now this is the part that was cut, and the other part is the sevage edge as well. So it has sevage edge at the upper part and at the lower part. That is the first thing you need to check out. Now the next thing is you put down your fabric and look at it very well. The pattern, if it is a patterned fabric, you look at the pattern. Where is the pattern facing? For this particular fabric, it is flowered and the flower is just scattered. So when you have a fabric like this, you don't have any problem. But when you have a fabric that has defined pattern, maybe like a tree or human being, you have to make sure you cut in a way that the tree or the human being is upright, is standing straight. So you can't just cut anyhow and the pattern scatters. So that is another point you have to look at. The next thing is the material stretchy. You see this one? You see that this particular one is stretching in this direction. Let's check the other direction, whether it is stretchy. There are some fabric that will stretch in both directions. This one is not stretching in this direction, meaning this direction that is not stretching will stand straight. That is where from my waist to wherever I want my skirt to be. That is the side that will be like that. And you see this part that is stretchy will go around my body. That is the part that will go around my body. The part that is not stretchy will go straight down. The part that is stretchy will go around the body. Now let us fold the fabric so that this is the part that is stretchy that will go around my body. Just watch as I will fold it now. You see the way I'm folding? The part that is not stretchy is the part that will make the length, that is from my waist to the part I want the skirt to get to. But the part that is stretchy will go around my body so that it can hug the body. I hope you understand that part. So I'm trying to fold. Most times when we are cutting, we cut on fold, especially if you are sewing a cloth that is symmetric. I'll still explain symmetric and asymmetric as we go on. So I will fold my fabric like this, and what determines the fold is the biggest part of where you are sewing. For example, we are sewing skirts, and if you measure, you know the measurements we need for a skirt is the waist, the hip, and the length of the skirt. Now the hip is usually supposed to be the biggest part of that skirt because your hip is bigger than your waist. So you divide your hip by 4. In this case, the hip we are using is 42. So we divide 42 by 4. It will give us 10.5. So I will make sure I fold it with 10.5. Now, because this material is stretchy, I will not put any sewing allowance. But if your material is not stretchy, once you fold the 10.5, then you add whatever sewing allowance you want to put, maybe 1 inch or 2 inches. So, but because we are sewing a stretchy material, I will not put any seam allowance. So I will just fold it. I'll make sure the fold is 10.5. You know, 42 divided by 4 will give us 10.5. So I'm trying to adjust it 10.5. That will be the fold. No seam allowance. It is a stretchy material, and because it's a stretchy material, I will not put that. We'll still talk about that, although I have asked you to watch a video on that. We'll still talk about that in construction, in garment construction later on. All right, so this is what I have. The fold is 10.5. That part I'm touching is where we'll take our waist. That is where we'll take the waist measurements. Then from that part, I'm still trying to confirm if it is 10.5, it's 10.5. All right, so from that waist part, I want this skirt to have a band, and the band will be 2 inches. So I will remove 2 inches from, I want to measure the length of the skirt now. So you will see that my tape is off at that part. So that is the 2 inches at that part is what I will use as my band. So I'm removing it. I remove 2 inches because I will add band to this skirt. So now from that point now, I will measure till the length of the skirt I want. Whatever your length, if it is a long skirt, then you measure it to the length. In this case, I want the skirt to be 3/4, and the length I'll be working with is 27. I usually like a skirt of 27. So remember, I moved 2 inches up. That is because of the band. Then now I put my, so now I'll mark 27 inches and I will draw a line. After drawing this line, I will need to add my allowance. You know, when I add the band at the upper part, I need 1/2 inch to do the sewing at the upper part, that is on the waist. Then I will fold my skirt. I will fold the skirt at the hem, that is the lower part of the skirt. So I will use 1 inch to do that folding. So I will now measure 1.5 inches. This 1.5 inches is a seam allowance. Number 1 for the 1/2 inch that I will use to join the waistband, that is on the waist, and 1 inch for my folding. You know the way we do folding, double hem fold. That is what we are going to do. By now you should know what is double hem fold. All right, so this is the length of the skirt. Now let us put our measurements on this waist. I will divide my waist by 4. The waist I'm using is 35. I will divide 35 by 4. And like I said earlier, no sewing allowance. It is a stretchy material. If you put sewing allowance on a stretchy material, it will be too big. Remember that is my 2 inch off, which is for the band. Therefore, that waist, I will measure to my hip. Most times you can measure it on your client, but for me, I use my waist to my hip is 8 inches. And remember that I will use 1/2 inch to join at the upper part. So I marked 8.5 inches. Whatever your waist to hip measurement is, just add 1/2 inch to it and measure it. Don't forget 2 inches is going to go off because of our band. All right, so that is my hip line. The line I just drew now is the hip line, and on that line I will mark 42 divided by 4, which is my hip, divided by 4, which is a 10.5. Now connect my waist to my hip. I'll connect my waist to my hip. Now basically that's all. If you want a straight skirt, you can just go and cut it. You can just cut it like this. But because we are working with we want to sew a pencil skirt, this hem side, the hem line, that is the lower part of the skirt, needs to be tiny. It needs to be, you know, the way pencil is. So since my hip is 10.5, if you want it straight, you just put your 10.5 here. You put your 10.5 at the hem line. You put your 10.5 here. Then you just go draw a straight line from that point to touch your hip. But because it is a pencil skirt, I will, instead of using 10.5 at that hem line, I will reduce 1 inch. So I will now make it 9.5. If you want it more pencil, you can reduce it further. You can reduce maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches. But for me, I want it pencil, but not too pencil. So that is why I came in by 1 inch at that point. So I'll just draw it and join it to my hip. Now you can use a hip. We have hip curve for this exercise to do this curving. If you don't really know how to do the curving, and you can use your hand. With time, you become perfect. So this is basically what we have. You know, it came in at that point. That is what makes it pencil. If you want it to come in further, you can make it come further. So the next thing is to cut. I told you this is one of the simplest skirts you can attempt. And I must say, because I'm using a stretching material, I will not put zipper. There won't be zipper and there won't be slit. It is a stretching material, so when I wear it, as I'm walking, the material will be stretching, so I'll be able to walk without slit. So we are not putting slit, we are not putting a zipper. You can see I am already cutting it, and this is the front. So after cutting, I will fold my fabric again, and I will use this front to cut the back, because there's no zipper, so there's no point putting zipper at the back, and there's no slit. So we are cutting both the front and the back exactly the same. All right, this is what it looks like. This is it. So let's open it and see how the inside looks like. You see it's already forming like a skirt. So the next thing is I will fold my fabric again, and I'll place this one on the fabric and cut it out exactly like this. So after cutting, this is what we have. One will be for the front, the other will be for the back. I need to notch the upper part so that I will know where the waist is. Please always remember to notch, if not you can get confused. This is the upper part, so I just notch the front and the back. So the next thing is you place it on top each other like this, right side to right side. Now since we are sewing as beginners, I will be sewing with 1 inch both side. So you can just, to make it easy, just pick you can pin it first. Please, I always encourage working with pin so that it won't shift. Now I will mark 1 inch. I'll be following the curve, the shape of the skirt. So following the shape, I will mark 1 inch, and I'll be joining it so that it will be easy. Once I just take it to the sewing machine, I'll follow that line. That's how you just mark your 1 inch. Now I must say also that there are different type of stretching material. There are some material that are very, very stretchy, and they are stretchy both sides. You know, like this one now, it is just one side that is stretchy, the other side is not stretchy. Now there are some material that instead of using your measurements, you might have to reduce your measurements. Sometimes you have to reduce by 15%, so that it can stay, it won't be too big. Anyway, we will get, as you start this journey, you will get to see different type of of fabrics and how to reduce them. But for now, we didn't reduce anything. All we just did is we used our exact measurements without adding any sewing allowance. So this is me on the machine. I've brought it to the machine, and I didn't finish the marking. But please, you as a beginner that you are, you can mark the 1 inch straight down. But for me, I can just eyeball it and sew Also, I didn't pin. Please remember to pin so that the material will not shift. So I'll just sew from the waist till I get to the hem line, and I'll also sew the other side. After sewing, we take it to the ironing table and iron. Please, like I have said times without number, make your iron your friend. If you want to always have a neat work, you must learn to iron as you sew. Ironing is very important in this work. That is one difference between a professional tailor and an Obioma tailor. Alright, just keep watching as I do the sewing, and I'll come back to explain the next step. Alright, this is what it looks like. This is the wrong side. Let me turn it inside out so that you can see the right side. You see, this is the right side. This is the right side. You see the seam line, the side seam, and the other one. So the next thing is taking it to my ironing table and giving it a good press. I will show you how to do it. The first thing is you need to open the seam. You open the seam, you press, then you turn it to the wrong side and open up the seam. You see the way? Turn it to the wrong side and open up the seam. Then after opening up the seam on both sides, then I will now turn it to the right side, and I will iron it. This my iron, I don't know, I didn't adjust the temperature, so it was a little bit too hot, so I had to keep switching it off at the switch. So just watch as I do the ironing, then I will come back so that we can cut the waist band. Please take your time to iron well. I had to fast forward this part so that to cut short the video. I actually took time to do this part, but I just decided to fast forward it. So don't think it is the way it's moving very fast. That is how I did it. I took my time to iron. So this is what we have. I think it's looking more like a skirt, isn't it? Not too pencil. And I told you, if you want it pencil, you know what to do. So the next thing is to measure the waist. This is the waist, so that we can cut the waistband. We will measure it. I think I have like a 32 here. That is 16 times 2, you know, is right front and back. So I measured 16 here times 2, that is a 32. So now I will need 1 inch for the joining of my waistband, of my waist. So instead of cutting 32 now, I'll cut 33. Now this is my fabric. This is my fabric. Remember, we still have to look at the stretchy part. I'm trying to get the stretchy part. So that is this part that will go around my waist. That is the stretchy part. So, and from the calculation that we did, I planned to make my waist 2 inches, but I decided no, let me make it 2.5 inches. It will affect the length of my skirt, but it's okay. So 2.5 inches. I'll cut it on fold. If I cut it on fold, that will be 5 inches because the band will be folded. Then I will need 1/2 inch for joining. So in total, I'm cutting 6 inches. 6 inches in thickness, 33 inches length. What we did is actually 32, but we need 1/2 inch to the right, 1/2 inch to the left to sew it. That is 1 inch. So that is why we are cutting 33 inches. But the thickness now will be 6 inches. So just watch as I will measure the 6 inches. I'll measure the 6 inches and I will cut out the band. Keep watching. If you still have any question, drop your question in the comment section of this video. This is 16.5 because it's on fold. By the time I cut it and I open it, it will be 33 inches, which is what we will need for the band. Alright, so this is the full length, of the band. The next thing is to make it easy, I will iron it so that I can get a crease line. That crease line will help me when I'm sewing. So I will iron. You see, that is the stretchy part that will go around my waist. So let's iron it. I'll fold it into 2 equal parts and iron it. As a beginner, please, ironing is important. This ironing, to you it might be, oh, it's too much work, but trust me, if you iron, it will save you a lot of headache, because at the end, if you don't iron like this waistband, it might not sit well. It will start folding and you might have to lose. So the time that you don't want to spend ironing, you will spend it losing. So you see, that is you just fold it into 2, and that was why we cut 6, so that by the time after folding, now we have 3 inches. Then we'll now sew 1/2 inch. Then at the end, the band will remain 2.5 inches. Even though when I cut my skirt, I planned to use 2 inches, but I just realized I needed a wider waist band. That's why I decided to make it 2.5 inches. You can still maintain the 2 inches if you want, and if you want it wider, you can increase it. Alright, so this is the waist band, and you see that crease line, that line that is made with the iron, that is what we call a crease line. So that when I'm sewing, it will help me to set the band well. Alright, back to our sewing machine. This sewing machine, don't mind the sewing machine, it is an ancient one. It is an ancient one. I think I got this sewing machine 10,000 naira then. Alright, so I will be sewing 1/2 inch. You know, the waistband is actually 32, but we had made it 33, so that, and because of this sewing, because I need to join the waistband first. So I'll be sewing using half inch. Half inch up, half inch down will give us 1 inch. By the time we finish sewing, the remaining waistband will be 32 on dot. All right, so now let me show you how our waistband looks like after joining. So after joining, I will just fold it in. You see the crease line? Yes. So this is our band, our waistband. This is what it looks like. Now, because we are new to sewing, we are beginners, I will join the tip of this waistband, so that when we are joining it to the skirt, it will not move. You see, that is how we are going to sew it to the skirt. But before we do that, let me sew the band round first. I'm trying to see whether it's the same length as the skirt. It is. All right, let's join the band. Let's sew it so that it will be easy when we are joining it to the skirt. So this is just the band. I'm sewing the tip. There are several ways to actually join a band to a skirt. This is one of the easiest way. As we go on, we'll learn other ways. All right, you see the band. This is just the band. I just want to sew it around, so that when I now join it to the skirt, it will be easy. Okay, so this is the band. I will now join it to the skirt. I'll just put the skirt inside the band. Don't forget, always use your pin. You can pin everything around. The part of the band that I joined, I'll make sure is facing one side of the skirt where there is joining. So it will just be as if that joining is continuation. Then I'll pin it. Then if you have more pin, you can just pin around, then take it to the sewing machine and sew. So just watch as I will sew it. And I must say that if you want your waistband to be very tight, you can reduce the waistband, because we are dealing with a stretchy material, so you can sew it in a way that you stretch the band a little to accommodate the skirt. It can still work, but since we are beginners, let's just sew it like this. It's fine, and it will definitely hold the waist. All right, so I'll just sew it around, and I will show you what I have. Did you see this place? I try to fold it inside a little. That is the side joining of the skirt. If you raise it up, it will give you issue. Just pull it down and sew. Like I said, if you have any question, drop it for me in the comment section. Alright, this is what it looks like. Did you see the waistband and the sewing? The sewing is actually, the seam is actually showing on the wrong side. Now the next thing is to fold the hemline. So we just do double folding. Everyone here should know what is double folding, so I'll just fold it twice, and I'll sew it around, and that would be all. It's so simple and easy, beginner friendly. And this is what I have for you on day 12 of our free online sewing class. So after hemming it, you can now take it to your ironing table and give it a good press, and your skirt is ready.